Good evening, learners. Today we are going to learn about training methods and some of the learning objectives that we want to achieve today is for you learners to be able to define training methods. Number 2, to list the types of training methods. Number 3 is to state the merits and demerits of each training method. So we can define training method as the techniques that are used by trainers to pass skills and knowledge to learners. Learners understand content taught better by use of different training methods. For example, there are learners who understand content if they see. Others understand content when they hear. Others understand content better by writing and reading. Others understand content better by doing. So today we are only going to discuss 3 types of training methods, but there are many. We are only going to look at role-playing, instructor-led training, and experiments, but there are others such as demonstrations, group discussions, projects, field trips, exhibitions, mock-ups, etc. So what we are going to discuss here today is not limited. Those are not the only types of training methods that a trainer can use to teach his or her learners. There are many. So you just choose whatever is appropriate for the learners and what the content that we are delivering to the learners. So we are going now to start with role playing. And role playing is a training technique where learners take specific roles to simulate real life situations. It helps the learners develop problem solving skills and apply theoretical knowledge to practical situations. So this is a learner-centered training method. So learners take a lot of active participation in role playing. For example, they can dramatize something, like if it's something that they are learning. Some students can dramatize and take the lead while others are watching. Now, some of the advantages of using role playing is that it promotes creativity because learners are actively involved in the learning process. They are able to be more creative. Learners also have active engagement. They are actively involved in whatever they are learning. Therefore, this also helps them retain the content more. It also helps to improve communication. For example, those learners who do not have very good communication skills, they can boost their communication skills and also have confidence while they are demonstrating. And the other one is that it leads to skill development through problem solving. So the learners are able to develop their skills because they are actually doing that role playing. Whatever they are doing, whatever project they are doing, they are involved. Therefore, it helps their mind to think critically, which helps them to have problem solving skills. The other one is the demerits of role playing. It is time consuming, as you know that if you have to be teaching a class of like 50 learners or 30 learners, and then each group, you divide them into groups and each group has to present, it's going to take a lot of time. Then it also requires more resources. Some of the role-playing activities will require resources, which is money, and it might not be possible for the teacher or the institution to provide all those resources, especially if almost all the classes are doing this role-playing. It will be very expensive in the long run. Then another disadvantage is that some of the reserved learners may have challenges participating. In role playing, there are those learners who take the active position and there are those who are just watching. So some of the reserved learners will not participate. They are just going to be watching and hide inside the other learners, but they are not going to participate in anything. So those are some of the advantages and disadvantages of role playing. Let's look at the instructor-led training method. This is a training method where the trainer directs the learning process. Actually, in this one, we can say that the trainer is the center, is the one who takes the lead. The learners, the work of the learners is to listen and to interact through question and answer method during the learning process. So this is a teacher-centered method. Now, some of the advantages of instructor-led teaching method is that there is consistency in the delivery of content. So we know that there is no change, as in, because these instructors will follow a certain layout of how they are supposed to deliver that content. This content is going to be delivered in each year for that very same class. So every class will be receiving the same content each year after each year. Another one is that it has structured learning. We know that teacher-led teaching method, mostly they follow a curriculum. There's a laid down structure which they are supposed to follow in order to train and to disperse information and deliver information to the learners. Therefore, there is a structure that is followed, meaning that every student will be able to get the same benefits from that structure as each other. There are no students who are going to get better benefits and others are going to be disadvantaged. No, there is a curriculum that shows how the information should be delivered, the way it should flow, the engagement, and everything. So we can also say that it is also cost effective because the only thing that the lecturer has to do is to prepare the learning resources, and then he comes or she comes to class and teach the learners. And then we can also say another advantage is that it is efficient for disseminating information, especially for large audience. So for large audience, we know that like in these large universities, you'll find that our class has around 300 or 500 learners who are taking that particular unit. So they will go in a lecture hall and they have only one teacher, and that teacher has a microphone. He is going to teach or she is going to teach like 500 people at a go. Even 1,000 people can be taught at a go. So now we are going to look at the demerits of instructor-led training method. One is passive, because the learners take a passive role, as in their work is just to listen to what the lecturer or their trainer is telling them. And sometimes there is no much involvement, as in there's limited, actually number two, there's limited interaction and engagement. The learners take a passive position. They do not interact so much, except when the trainer or the lecturer asks for a question. That is the only time that the learners can participate. And because this type of training method is passive, it means that the learners retain less content. As in, those learners who retain content by seeing, they will be disadvantaged. Those learners who understand content through hearing, those ones are going to benefit because it's a lecture. So those learners who can learn through doing, they are not going to benefit from instructor-led training. So because of the learning style, and then also all the learners will be able to retain less. People tend to remember what they see than what they hear. So those are some of the disadvantages. The other training method is the use of experiments. And this is a training method where the learners follow various steps systematically to achieve certain objectives. Learners then draw conclusions from the experiments. This is also a learner-centered method. The trainer guides the learners and the learners try to solve the problems themselves. For example, when we were in school, we used to do like physics or chemistry. You go to the lab, you mix some chemicals there, you see testing for like alkalinity. You know, the teacher will guide you, and he will show you, he or she will show you what you are supposed to do. Then once you get what you are supposed to do, then the learners can try themselves, and then they can also draw conclusion from the experiments. Now, some of the advantages of experimenting training is that there's practical application. It also boosts critical thinking and also problem solving, hence skill development. There's active learning and learner collaboration because learners are doing all these things together. Now, some of the demerits is that it can be very costly. Buying these apparatus for experiments can be very costly. It can also be very time consuming, and especially if the learners are many. There could also be safety concerns. For example, if you leave the learners with chemicals, to mix, it's not going to be a good way. Like it can cause harm. Some learners can be harmed while they are trying to experiment. So those are some of the training methods that can be used out there. And we are among the three that I've discussed. We know that the role playing and the experiment is the best way of learning. The trainer-led method is not good because the learners are not actively involved. They are passive. So we are going to meet next class, whereby we are now going to look into the other training methods. So thank you. See you another day.